1. The Haitian Massacre, 1804, after winning independence. Haiti's leader ordered the killing of virtually all remaining white inhabitants, 3,000 to 5,000 people killed in 2 months. The event was erased from Western history books for 200 years. 2. Unit 731, 1937 to 1945. Japan's secret biological warfare unit conducted live experiments on prisoners, vivisections without anesthesia, frostbite experiments, plague bombs. Over 10,000 victims. Most commanders were never prosecuted. 3. The Congolese Genocide, 1885 to 1908. King Leopold II of Belgium privately owned the Congo. His enforcers cut off hands as proof of bullet usage. Between 10 to 15 million Congolese died. He was never tried. He died wealthy. 4. The Armenian Genocide, 1915 to 1923. The Ottoman Empire systematically exterminated 1.5 million Armenians. Death marches into the desert. Mass drownings. Turkey still officially denies it happened today. Mao's Great Leap Forward, 1958 to 1962. China's forced industrialization caused the largest famine in human history. Between 15 to 55 million people starved to death in 4 years. Farmers were executed for hiding food. 6. The transatlantic slave trade, 1500. Over 12 million Africans were shipped to the Americas. 2 million died on the journey alone. Families torn apart, generations destroyed, built the wealth of entire nations. The Rwandan Genocide, 1994. In 100 days, 800,000 Tutsi people were massacred by their Hutu neighbors. Radio stations broadcast kill lists. The world watched and did nothing, and peacekeepers were ordered to stand down. 8. The Black Death, 1347-1351. The bubonic plague wiped out 30 to 60% of Europe's entire population. 50 million dead. Bodies piled in streets. Entire villages vanished. It took 200 years for Europe's population to recover. The Mongol conquests, 1206 to 1368. Genghis Khan and his descendants killed an estimated 40 million people to 10% of the entire world population at the time. Some regions lost 90% of their population. Entire civilizations erased. 10. The Holocaust, 1941 to 1945. Nazi Germany systematically murdered 6 million Jews and 5 million others in industrialized death camps. Children gassed, families separated at arrival. The most documented genocide in history. 11. Stalinist purges, 1936 to 1938. Joseph Stalin ordered the execution of 750,000 Soviet citizens in 2 years. Millions more sent to gulags. You could be arrested for telling a joke. Families reported each other to survive. 12. The partition of India, 1947, when Britain divided India. Up to 2 million people were killed in religious violence within months. 15 million displaced overnight. Trains arrived at stations filled only with corpses. 13. Pol Pot and the Killing Fields, 1975 to 1979. The Khmer Rouge evacuated all Cambodian cities in 1 day. 2 million people, to 25% of Cambodia's population, were worked, starved, or executed to death in 4 years. 14. The Irish Famine, 1845 to 1852. While 1 million Irish people starved to death. British landlords continued exporting food from Ireland to England. The British government called it a natural disaster. Irish historians call it a policy decision. 13. Pol Pot and the Killing Fields, 1975 to 1979. The Khmer Rouge evacuated all Cambodian cities in 1 day. 2 million people, to 25% of Cambodia's population, were worked, starved, or executed to death in 4 years. 14. The Irish Famine, 1845 to 1852. while 1 million Irish people starved to death. British landlords continued exporting food from Ireland to England. The British government called it a natural disaster. Irish historians call it a policy decision. 15. The witch trials of Europe. 1450 to 1750. Between 40,000 to 60,000 people were executed across Europe for witchcraft over 300 years. 75% were women. Many were tortured into confessing. The last official execution was in 1782. 16. The Kunduz Hospital bombing. 2015. AU SAC -130 gunship attacked a Medicines Sans Frontières hospital in Afghanistan for 30 minutes, even after MSF called U.S. military command while it was happening. 42 people killed. No criminal charges were ever filed. 17. The Nanking Massacre. 1937. Japanese forces occupied Nanjing, China, and murdered between 100,000 to 300,000 civilians in 6 weeks. Women systematically assaulted. Bodies dumped in the Yangtze River. Japan has never formally apologized. 18. The Bosnia Genocide. 1992 to 1995. Serbian forces systematically massacred Bosniak Muslims. 8,000 men and boys executed at Srebrenica in one weekend while UN peacekeepers stood nearby. Europe's worst atrocity since World War II. 19. The Trail of Tears. 1838-1839. The U.S. government forcibly relocated 60,000 Native Americans from their ancestral lands. 4,000 died on the march from cold, hunger, and disease. President Andrew Jackson called it a humane policy. 20. The Zanzibar Revolution. 1964. In one night, Arab and South Asian populations of Zanzibar were massacred. Between 5,000 to 20,000 killed in hours. The new government erased it from official records. Most of the world never heard about it. 21. Agent Orange. 1961 to 1971. The U.S. military sprayed 20 million gallons of toxic chemicals over Vietnam. 400,000 people killed or maimed. 500,000 children born with birth defects. Effects continue to this day. No U.S. official was ever prosecuted. 22. The Guatemalan Genocide. 1960 to 1996. The U.S.-backed Guatemalan military massacred over 200,000 Mayan civilians. Villages burned. Women assaulted as weapons of war. The CIA provided training and intelligence to the death squads. 23. North Korean concentration camps ongoing. Over 100,000 people are held in political prison camps in North Korea right now. 3 generations of a family can be imprisoned for one person's crime. Survivors describe conditions worse than Nazi camps. 24. The Children Crusade. 1212. Tens of thousands of European children marched to the Holy Land believing God would part the sea for them. Many died of exhaustion. Those who reached the coast were sold into slavery by merchants who offered them ships. 25. British concentration camps. Boer War. 1900 to 1902. Britain invented the modern concentration camp during the Boer War in South Africa. 28,000 Boer women and children and 20,000 black Africans died in the camps, deliberately starved. 26. The Assyrian Genocide. 1914 to 1920, alongside the Armenian Genocide. The Ottoman Empire systematically exterminated 250,000 to 750,000 Assyrian Christians. Villages burned, families massacred, almost completely forgotten by history. 27. Operation Condor. 1975 to 1983. The U.S. secretly coordinated with South American dictatorships to kidnap, torture, and murder political dissidents across borders. At least 60,000 people killed. Declassified CIA documents confirmed U.S. involvement. 28. The Great Purge of Ethiopia. 1977-1978. Communist dictator Mengistu Haile Mariam ordered the Red Terror, the systematic execution of hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians. Bodies left in streets. Families charged for the bullets used to kill their relatives. 29. The Taiping Rebellion, 1850 to 1864. A man who believed he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ led a rebellion that killed between 20 to 30 million people in China, one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, almost unknown in the West. 30. The East Pakistan Genocide, 1971. Pakistani military forces systematically massacred between 300,000 to 3 million Bengali civilians in what is now Bangladesh. Mass graves still being discovered. Pakistan has never acknowledged it as genocide. 31. The Médecins Sans Frontières bombing, Syria 2015-2016. Russian and Syrian government forces repeatedly bombed hospitals in Syria, marked with red crosses, a war crime. Over 50 hospitals destroyed. Doctors killed while operating. No accountability. 32. The Congo Crisis, present. The Democratic Republic of Congo has been in continuous conflict since 1996. Over 6 million dead, the world's deadliest ongoing conflict. Children as young as 6 recruited as soldiers. The world barely covers it. 33. The Comfort Women, 1932 to 1945. Between 200,000 to 400,000 women, mostly Korean, Chinese, and Filipino, were forced into sexual slavery by the Japanese military. Most were killed to hide evidence. Japan's full apology has never come. 34. The Cherokee smallpox blankets, 1700. 1300s. European settlers deliberately distributed blankets used by smallpox patients to Native American tribes, entire communities wiped out. Some historians call it the first recorded act of biological warfare. 35. The Famine of Bengal, 1943, while 3 million Indians starved to death. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill continued exporting food from India to Britain. When told of the famine, Churchill asked why Gandhi hadn't died yet. 36. The Khmer Rouge Year Zero, 1975, on April 17, 1975. The Khmer Rouge declared Year Zero, erasing all of Cambodia's history. Doctors, teachers, and anyone wearing glasses was executed. The country was reset to the Stone Age by force. 37. The Aztec human sacrifice system, 1300s-1500s. The Aztec Empire sacrificed an estimated 20,000 people per year to their gods. Hearts cut out while still beating. The Great Temple dedication in 1487 reportedly saw 80,000 people sacrificed in 4 days. 38. Roman gladiatorial games, 100 BC to 400 AD for 500 years. Rome entertained up to 80,000 spectators by watching people kill each other, slaves, criminals, and prisoners of war. An estimated 400,000 people died in the Colosseum alone. 39. The Transatlantic Middle Passage, 1500. Hundreds enslaved Africans were packed into ships so tightly they could not turn over. Chained in their own waste for months. Those who died were thrown overboard. Sharks followed the slave ships across the Atlantic. 40. The Myanmar Rohingya Genocide, 2016. Present Myanmar's military burned Rohingya villages, massacred men, and systematically assaulted women. 700,000 fled to Bangladesh in weeks. The UN called it a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. Myanmar's leader won a Nobel Peace Prize. 41. The Japanese Unit 100, 1936 to 1945, less known than Unit 731. Unit 100 conducted biological warfare experiments specifically on horses, cattle, and food supplies, targeting entire civilian food systems across Asia. 42. The Uyghur detention camps ongoing. Over 1 million Uyghur Muslims are currently detained in Chinese camps. Forced sterilization, cultural erasure. Surveillance so total that families abroad are monitored through relatives inside, called vocational training centers. 43. The Cathar Crusade 1229. Pope Innocent III launched a crusade against French Christians who followed a different version of Christianity. 200,000 to 1 million killed. When asked how to tell Catholics from heretics, the papal legate reportedly said, "Kill them all. God will know his own." 44. The Greek Genocide 1914 to 1923. The Ottoman Empire expelled and massacred 300,000 to 900,000 ethnic Greeks alongside the Armenian and Assyrian genocides. Death marshes, forced labor battalions, deliberately erased from mainstream history. 45. Operation Paperclip 1945. The U.S. government secretly recruited over 1,600 Nazi scientists, including those who ran concentration camp experiments, and gave them new identities and jobs in American space, weapons, and medical programs. 46. The atomic bombings 1945. The U.S. dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing 110,000 to 210,000 people instantly, mostly civilians. Tens of thousands more died slowly from radiation. It remains the only wartime use of nuclear weapons in history. 47. The Philippine-American War 1899 to 1902. After the Spanish-American War, the U.S. refused to grant the Philippines independence. 200,000 to 600,000 Filipino civilians died. U.S. soldiers were ordered to kill everyone over 10 years old on the island of Samar. 48. The Herero and Nama Genocide 1904 to 1908. Germany's first genocide happened in what is now Namibia. The Herero and Nama people were driven into the desert and left to die of thirst. Survivors used in medical experiments. Germany only officially acknowledged it in 2021. 49. The sex slave trade today ongoing. An estimated 4.8 million people are trapped in forced sexual exploitation right now, today, as you watch this video. It generates $99 billion per year. It exists in every country on Earth, including yours. 50. The sixth mass extinction ongoing. Scientists confirm we are living through Earth's sixth mass extinction event caused entirely by human activity. Species are dying 1,000 times faster than the natural rate. Unlike the previous 5 extinctions, this one has a known cause, and it knows it's doing it.